So for the first servant speaker concept, I'm going to be talking about the rhetorical appeals. And there are three rhetorical appeals: logos, ethos, and pathos. And each of these appeal to a different aspect of your mind that searches for credibility. So logos is the first rhetorical appeal, and that's the appeal to logic. So the movie does a really good job of providing logical reasons for why Michael doesn't have any educational background and why he's not able to learn correctly. It makes sense considering his circumstances. He came out of a poor family that didn't necessarily prioritize education, and that was kind of the environment he grew up in, which kind of explains why he's failing all of his classes. Another time that the producers use a logical appeal is when the scene where Leanne coaches Michael to teach him to compare playing defense in football and to protecting his family. She finds logical reasons behind her methods by understanding Michael's strengths, which is his protective reflexes, and applying them to one of his weaknesses in order to help him learn a different concept. The next rhetorical appeal is ethos, which is the appeal to character. This is very apparent in the scene where Leanne is approached by her friends who have a prejudice against her for letting Michael in and caring for him under her own roof. We see Leanne not only stand up for herself, but also for Michael. In this part of the movie, the audience now begins to see the credibility and the heart behind the Tuohy's actions towards Michael. He's not just a charity case, but they actually care about him as a person. Ethos is also very observable towards the end of the movie, where Michael runs away because he's convinced that the Tuohys only took him in to pressure him to do football for their favorite school. Leanne is speaking with her husband, and she voices the question, "Am I a good person?" Here we not only see her questioning her intentions, but she's actually affirming her character by being willing to look within herself. Now, as the audience watches this part of the movie, we're all kind of confused because the question, "Am I a good person?" is so controversial for this part of the story, because all the audience sees is the Tuohy family being open and letting people in and taking care of Michael, who came from nothing. And so they go on, or Leanne and her husband go on to have a conversation about it, and the audience is actually able to see their hearts behind helping Michael, and that improves the Tuohy's credibility and character once again by seeing that they're willing to question their own motives and see if their motives are pure. The last appeal is pathos, which is the appeal to emotion. Obviously, this entire movie is very emotional and appeals to that part of the audience. So pathos is very easy to identify throughout the entire movie. It's all about a boy who came from very heartbreaking and difficult circumstances. He grew up in a very hard family, rough background. He was taken away from his mother and his brother and all of his people that he had become close with, all of his friends and those who he considered family. And he was placed into this completely different situation where he was living on his own, barely able to eat and clean his own clothes. And this family, the Tuohy family, opened up their hearts and their home to let him in. The whole plot and the whole interaction between Michael and the Tuohy family is really touching. However, I think the scene that grips the emotions of the audience the most is probably the very ending scene where Michael asks Leanne for a proper hug. This is clearly more than just a simple embrace that you would give anyone, but instead it signifies a thank you for all the love, the time, the money that the Tuohys have put into helping Michael grow as a person and be able to be accepted into a college. By this hug, it signifies that Michael is actually finally opening up and accepting his place in the Tuohy family. Another example that emotionally touches the audience is the scene towards the beginning of the movie, actually, where Big Mike walks towards the swing set, and there's two little girls just playing around. And he walks up, and these girls kind of run away scared because of his size and his race. And the audience is just starting to learn how sensitive and how innocent Michael really is. And so this definitely appeals to that emotion within everybody because they see how they're wrongfully judging him. So overall, I think that the movie did a very good job of using these emotional, logical, and character appeals to help the audience understand and connect more with the movie.